The Beast of Gévaudan, Scene 14, Take 210. Action!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the History and Mystery channel. I'm your host, Chronicler, and I want you to like and subscribe. Now that you've done that, I want to delve into the story of the Beast of Gévaudan, a beast that terrorized the French countryside and got its joy out of slaughtering women and children. For our story, I made 5 chapters, and those chapters are: a period of terror and death, the hunt, royal intervention, its return, and the last stand. So let's start with chapter 1. For our story, we will have to travel towards the quiet province of Gévaudan, located in 18th century France. To get a better understanding of the place where our story takes place, I will quote historian and author of the book Monsters of Gévaudan, The Making of a Beast, J.M. Smith. Gévaudan was a place that held a reputation for being a remote, isolated backwater where the forces of nature had not been fully tamed, where the forests were indeed enchanted. Gévaudan was a place where normally not much would happen. Children would help their parents on their farms, and the Sundays were committed to God. But this would all change when a fierce beast started terrorizing the villages. On June the 30th, 1764. That date became famous because that's the date where we will find the first recorded murder victim of the beast, a 14-year-old shepherdess named Jeanne Boulet, and she fell victim to the brutal ways of the beast when it decided to attack her while she was peacefully tending her flock of sheep. Her mutilated body would be found by the locals just after sunset. When we take a look at her burial notice, which was written by a priest, it mentions the ferocious beast, or as they call it in French, la bête féroce, for the first time in history. According to historian J.M. Smith, Jean wasn't the first victim, but the second one. He would write in his book Monsters of Gévaudan that the young woman was attacked by the beast 2 months prior to Jeanne Boulet. The 13-year-old girl was watching the family cattle when she felt something watching her from behind. Once she gathered the strength to turn around, she would look straight into the frightening eyes of the beast that was lurking in the forest. After seeing these eyes, she knew it was bad news and made the right decision by running away. The girl was making moves, but the wild beast was faster and getting closer by the second. When the cattle saw what was happening, they decided that it was their turn to protect the girl that always protected them. The cattle made pace and formed a wall around the little girl, preventing the beast from catching her. Luckily for them all, the beast must have realized that he was heavily outnumbered and decided to run back into the forest. Unfortunately for our story, it doesn't end with 2 attacks. The beast went on to slaughter 2 more girls and a young boy during the summer of August 1764. The girls and the boy were never out in the dark, which meant that the beast had taken them during the day. The local villagers would only find the remains of 1 girl. 1 month later, in September, the beast would attack again, 3 more times, but this time it was different. For the first time, the beast would attack an adult. A 36-year-old woman got slaughtered while she was working in her own garden inside of the province. Story about the beast and its brutal murders started to make their way to the streets and became a daily topic for the villagers. The stories of the beast would even make it to the highest office in Gévaudan. In this office, Etienne Lafont resided, and he had the responsibility to monitor town happenings and report his findings to the regional government. Because of the many reports of the beast and its victims, Etienne Lafont decided that it was time to take action. The first person Etienne Lafont would enlist was a war veteran of the 7 Years' War and local count named Mirage Yes. Besides the count, Also, the terrified people of Gévaudan would join the hunt. Bounties were offered, and the hunters would scout to the countryside looking for a sign of the beast. The people would find their first sign on the 8th of October 1764. The beast was spotted close to Château de la Baume. The hunters would make their way and follow the beast into the forest. Upon arriving at its location, the hunters tried to box the beast in and push it into the open. They were successful, and once the beast arrived into the open, the other hunters tried to shoot it with their muskets. The guns fired, and one bullet would hit the beast. The happy hunters would run towards the beast, but before they could catch it, it stood up, made its way, and disappeared into the forest. During the next 2 days, around 200 people would search for the beast, but without any luck. The beast had disappeared into thin air, but it wouldn't stay away for long. During the same week, the beast would return and attack a young boy that was working on his farm. A part of his face got ripped off and his skull got cracked. On October the 15th, the beast would strike again by decapitating a woman. Every week, more and more people fell victim to the beast, which put a lot of pressure on Etienne Lafont and Captain Jean-Baptiste Duhamel. They had to do something and find a way to get it fast. Captain Duhamel decided to take it in his own hands when he and 50 of his best men started their journey towards Gévaudan. On the road, the captain and his men would face a big problem when they noticed the road was blocked by snow. Because of this, their journey got delayed multiple days. Once they finally arrived in Gévaudan on the 31st of October, they would learn that another woman had fallen victim to the beast. The men were motivated and ready to start their operations, but Mother Nature would cause another delay when she created a heavy snowstorm. Finally, on the 15th of November, operations could start and the captain would use multiple tactics to catch the beast. For example, he would organize his men according to military doctrines, fill the woods with poisoned bait, and he even made some of his soldiers just like peasant women, hoping that the beast would be attracted by them. Unfortunately, none of their tactics worked. And on the 31st of December, the church even decided to get involved when the Bishop of Mantes, Gabriel Florent, organized prayers and penance. This appeal would remain in history under the name of the Commandment of the Bishop of Mantes. In this long text, the bishop would describe that the beast is a scourge sent by God to punish men for their sins. It was all God's judgment, and the church would organize prayers in accordance for 3 consecutive Sundays. 1765 would start off with a brutal murder of a 16-year-old boy on the 2nd of January. January the 12th, 1765 would become a turning point in the hunt. On that day, a young boy named Jacques Pottefer and his 6 friends were tending their cattle out in the field. As we know, the beast likes to attack young children, but he had never attacked such a big group of children. It was a first, and the beast wouldn't hold back. It made its way towards the boys and started his attack. Once the beast got closer, he would see that the boys had prepared themselves for a fight. The boys grabbed their pikes and started hitting the beast, which led to the successful defense. Only one boy got a small injury which would heal over time. The boys' display of heroism would spread fast to the country and even make it towards the court of King Louis XV. Once the king learned about this, he decided to give the boys a reward for the display of bravery. The rewards were given through money and by scholarship. Shortly after giving these rewards to the boys, King Louis would tell the people of Gévaudan that the crown would now help them with their fight. The first thing the king would do is replace Captain Jean-Baptiste Duhamel because of his failures. The captain got replaced by two new hunters, a father and a son of the Denvaux family, who were famous for killing predatory wolves. At the start of their mission, the Denvaux would, just like the captain, face a delay for their operations because of bad weather. The Denvaux had to wait until April to start their hunt. The first thing they would do is use their tracking skills to find the beast, but it wouldn't work. And at the end of May, the beast had already taken the lives of a dozen more. To make it even worse, the beast would kill a woman in the very same area that they had been searching that day. The people of Gévaudan got tired and frustrated by the horrors that didn't seem to end. The failures of the Denvaux and public unrest would force the king to appoint another leader for the hunt. François Antoine, a 71-year-old, well-respected knight, became the new leader for the hunt in June. After dismissing the Denvaux, François would also face a period of heavy weather, and once it finally passed, he started to make his game plan. During the entire month of July, François and his men didn't even see the beast once. In early August, Marie-Jeanne Vallée, a 19-year-old girl, was walking with her younger sister to the community of Pollock, when the beast came out of nowhere and threw itself on top of Marie. While she was falling down, she managed to stab the beast in its chest, which caused the beast to run away. This story would quickly reach François Antoine, who rushed towards the scene. On arrival, he would see that the spear that Marie used was still covered in blood. This heroic deed of the women got written down in a letter which François would send to Saint Florentin, who was the minister of the king's house. In this letter, François would compare Marie-Jeanne to Joan of Arc, and he would nickname her the Maid of Gévaudan. When November arrived, it passed by without any attacks or sightings of the beast. Some people even started to get their hopes up and believed that the beast had died because of his injuries. On the 26th of November, Etienne Lafont even wrote a letter to the intendant of Languedoc, telling him that we no longer hear of anything relating to the beast. But all these happy thoughts wouldn't stay for long. Because on the 2nd of December, the horror of Gévaudan would start again, when two boys, aged 6 and 12, got attacked by not one, but two ferocious beasts, a youngling and a mother. The older brother was successful in defending the boys against the beast. After the fight, the boys would return back in town and tell their story to the villagers. Once they heard it, the villagers started to think and put the dots together. The beast must have been quiet for a month because it was taking care of the youngling. The villagers got faced with a brutal reality. The beast of Gévaudan had returned, and it was not alone. Not long after the boys' heroic defense against the beast, they returned and started to raise terror on the land. Multiple shepherds would witness how the beast would show no fear and no mercy upon arriving on their farm. Their cattle got slaughtered, and the shepherds had to hide, fight or run for their lives. Multiple deaths would even be reported near the commune of La Besserie Sainte-Marie. The fact if the beast had really returned became a point of discussion through the region. Yes, more people and more cattle got slaughtered by wildlife, but it was different than before. Some people would claim it was just groups of wild and hungry wolves. On January the 1st, 1766, Monsieur de Montluche would claim that this was just wishful thinking when he wrote a letter to the intendant of Auvergne, claiming that the beast had returned. The intendant alerted the king, but Louis XV was no longer interested in the story. Because of that, the newspapers would stop reporting attacks or sightings of the beast in Gévaudan or in the south of Auvergne. Stopping the reports wouldn't stop the attacks, and in March 1766 the attacks would double. With or without the support of the king, the people would not give up their fight, and on March the 24th a group of gentlemen would come together in the commune of Marvejols. Etienne Lafont and a young nobleman named Marquis d'Apcher would organize hunting parties to kill the beast. They tried hard, but they would not succeed. Attacks from the beast would continue throughout the year. But according to multiple accounts written by Canon Ollier, the parish priest Lorcherie, its methods would change, because the beast became much more cautious. At the start of the year 1767, the beast would tone down on its attacks, only to double them during the spring. The people panicked and didn't know what to do, besides praying and begging to God for help. All these prayers wouldn't help when the villagers of Les Biniers got attacked by the beast and had killed a 19-year-old named Jean-Baptiste Bastide. In the year 1767, a local hunter named Jean Chastel would join a hunting party that got organized by Marquis d'Apcher on the 19th of June. During their hunt, they would travel to Mont Mouchet, which is now called La Sonne d'Auvers. On arrival, Jean would see the ferocious beast, but before he would attack it, he would pray to God to ask for strength. After he finished his prayer, he would load his gun, take aim, hold his breath, and shoot it. The bullet flew through the air and would fatally hit the beast, letting it fall to the ground. The body was then loaded onto a horse and brought to the Chateau de Besque of Marquis d'Apcher, located in Charaille, where Dr. Boulan would make his autopsy of the beast. The results of the autopsy would say that it was a large wolf-like creature. After the autopsy was finished, the beast was put on display at the Chateau of Marc d'Apcher. Multiple people would visit the chateau to see the beast and confirm that that was the beast that they had seen terrorizing their villages. I want to thank you all for listening. See you in the next one. And remember, history is written in mystery.